Hey everybody, welcome to another Money Reviews. Today we're reviewing the TacticalPow Ballistic Helmet. This is supposedly a NIJ certified ballistic helmet. I got this off TacticalPow, their website. They are a Tennessee-based company. Look, I had no illusions of what I was getting when I picked this up. I just wanted a decently realistic helmet for airsofting. I wasn't looking for anything that was actually going to protect my head. It was actually cheaper than some of the heavy and thick plastic helmets I was looking at that were supposed to be weighted like the real thing. So I decided to try it out and see what happens. Just came in, so I'm doing it real quick, just initial feels, and then we'll take it from the table. I'll do a wear test for you, show what it looks like, and I'll go over the whole thing. So we'll take it outside, put it on, all that kind of stuff as well. But this is just my initial impressions having received it from them. First things first, it did not come from the US. This was drop shipped right out of China. So they might be a Tennessee-based company, but their stuff's coming out of China. Take that for what it is. I don't know why that was the case, but it definitely just came from there. It came completely assembled as you see it, just like this. It appears to be a Kevlar shell. I mean, it's got the nice rough outer shell, like texture outer area that you would expect on a Kevlar helmet. If you're familiar with wearing actual Kevlar helmets or like ACH and shit like that, they all kind of have this texture for the most part. Internally, I don't see any telltales of like Kevlar weave. It's just a solid covering material that they've put in here, or a paint. So I don't know. I'm assuming it is, but I have no way of knowing for certain. They do have like this rubbery rand that's covering the whole rim, so I wouldn't be able to see if I wanted to. Now, I'm not going to shoot this thing. There's plenty of other videos doing great ballistic testing on Chinese Kevlar helmets. The results have not been promising or very good. Oxide is one of the guys that has done a lot of extensive testing on a lot of foreign cheap procured ballistic helmets. I think Blue Jean Operator has done a few as well. So they're out there if you want to find those videos. I'll see if I can wrangle up some links to some of their videos, and I'll put them in the description below. And you can see what those guys have done by shooting some of these things. Like I said at the beginning, these guys have claimed this is NIJ certified. There's no paperwork that came in the box of this helmet that showed me that this has any NIJ level 3 testing done on it. I'm sure they have some sort of ballistic laboratory paperwork that I could ask for. They'll cough something up and send it to me. It came with these extra pads, these super cheap like foam pads. I don't know why anyone would put these in their helmet or try these, or why you would even have these. This is shit that comes with a really terribly cheap Airsoft replica helmet. Internally, the pads that it did come with aren't the worst I've ever seen for an Ops Core replica, because that's exactly what this is. It's a fast replica. That's what I wanted. I didn't want a maritime. I wanted just a standard fast. I think this is a standard fast cut. Can't really always tell because I'm not the best with that. These aren't amazing, but they're not terrible. I've seen worse pads on repro helmets, and I've seen better. They are fairly soft. This one, though, was it this one? Or was it the other one? It was this one, yeah. I've taken this one out, and the pad piece came right off right away. So, yeah, not the best. I'm going to bin the pads anyway. I never keep pads from repro helmets, Kevlar or not. I bin them. Most likely, the Ocdial will get binned as well because they're not that great. As far as fake straps and Ocdials go, though, this one's not too terrible. Back here, you've got the big dial portion. It does move decently smooth, and it does function. It expands. The rear pad back here is okay. It is soft to the touch. It is not too uncomfortable, and they do have some nice like velvet felt wrapping over the plastic right here to try to alleviate discomfort in hot spots. Some of the repros don't have that. They're just straight plastic right here. That's a nice touch. I kind of like that. And you have the same padding up front here in front of the foam bumper padding like the OpsCore has, and that's not too bad. It's kind of soft to the touch. The actual piece here is like a faux leather instead of like a suede on the chin cup, and then the strapping itself, the nylon doesn't feel too bad. It's okay. There's no logoing or trademarks on the slides. It doesn't say headlock or anything like that, so they didn't try to copy it verbatim or to the T. The mount is plastic. It is not metal. So there you go. Now you know it is a 3-hole. You can replace it. It does have plenty of Velcro. It came already on the helmet. And then it does have arc rails. I already tried just a real quick cursory test of the arc rails to see how they were, and they seem to be a little small spec-wise. This is a knockoff SNS light mount. I can't get it to go past the first notch. It's just too tight. And then I had a couple real lights. I had a real Princeton Tech arc rail mounted light. Same issue. It won't go past the first notch. It's just this little cavity, this channel. It seems to be just a little off spec and a little too narrow, and it's just too tight. I can't get anything to go past there. These clips back here are kind of nice though. They feel quality, and it is a nice tight click in and a nice tight marry up. So that's cool. And the screws seem okay. But I did notice that was it this one? One of the arc rails seemed to kind of shift a little bit. I can't get it to do it now. So that's not the best thing in the world. Anyway, bungees are not horrid, not great. They're just bungees. They're what they are. So yeah, that's my initial just kind of like overall grabbing it, touching it, feeling it, smelling it, caressing it impression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to go put it on, get a little wear test, show you how it fits on my big old noggin. And I'm also going to do some side-by-sides of a couple repros of the OpsCores that I do have. I've got an FMA large, extra large repro. It's the thinner walled repro. And then I've also got a thicker walled repro. And I'll show you some size differences between those and this to give you an idea of where this sits. This is supposed to be a large, extra large. It does fit me, but for some reason, it just feels to me like it almost seems like the shell is just a little small, but it might just be in my head. I don't know. I felt the same way about the Maritime. We'll see. Maybe it's just the way the OpsCore ballistic shells are now. I think it's with the new sizing. Anyway, so let's take it off the table. Let's put it on. Let's do a little 360 and talk about it. All right, so we're outside. We got the ballistic helmet on, and it's on my beautiful, beautiful head, my beautiful mug. And you can see how it looks. Styling and profiling. And it's not bad. I think it first kind of felt a little smallish to me when I got it. When I first put it on, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, damn, that shit look kind of small, big head. But it isn't really. It fits. It's the right size. It fits on my head. And I think that that look to me, the reason it felt like it may have looked a little small was because there is a pretty big variation out there in replica shells in sizing when you go to large, extra large shells. And I pulled a couple different shells I've got out of the repros, and I looked at them, and they are pretty wide variety of shell sizing. So my son is about a medium helmet size. He tried it on. It is definitely too big for him. So it's not a medium, and I'm not trying to fit into a medium on this thing. One of my other large, extra large shells is about this size. One of my other ones is bigger. It's noticeably larger. And I think that's just off-spec shell production prior to. And I think over the years, they have refined these things and made them, if not exactly one-to-one for OpsCores, they've got them closer and closer. So it's hard to always tell if it's where it should be. But but I think it is pretty good. So this is a profile here, and then the other profile, and then we got the rear. The dial's good back here, and then the chin strap is pretty good. I've got it going underneath my chin, not cupped on because of the beard. This strap's not bad. I do have it maxed out, so the strap's a little small, closer to more of like a small medium, not really a large, extra large, or maybe a medium large. It's not uncomfortable, but I would swap this out later for something a little bigger. Now the good news is the hostile does swap it. So I can tighten it down a little bit, because if I was wearing an ACH helmet and I undid the buckle and I was to bend over like I'm about to, this would fall off my head. But it doesn't. So that means the octile is working. It is tensioning down the way it's supposed to, and I can have this unstrapped. I can be moving around with it unstrapped, and then if I had to do a fast movement, I'm probably not going to lose my lid immediately, and I can either buckle or just keep doing what I'm doing. It's kind of like whatever you want to do, how you want to play it, how you want to do it. It does sit a little low on the brow right here, so I'm going to have to play with the padding inside to get it exactly where I want it and exactly how I want it. I'm going to mess with the strap system a little bit. I might go no octile. I might switch to a Team Windy. I haven't decided yet. I might go straight H-nape. We'll see. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the rails are off spec, so those are going to go. I'm either going to go slick GBRS style, or I might go with just another rail system and switch them out. But overall, definitely not bad. Not very heavy. It's pretty light for a ballistic shell. It is definitely lighter than my ACH. It's lighter than my 2002 that I was wearing in Iraq, and it is almost on par in weight with some of my heavier plastic helmets, my bumps that I have for Airsoft. So I'm kind of glad I picked this up. I wanted something a little more realistic with a little better weight than just a super thin plastic shell. Okay, so we're going to take this back inside. We're going to get back on the table. Just one more quick turnaround so you guys can see it on the head. And we'll talk about the final touches on the final thoughts on this and whether or not I think it is okay for the price and my final thoughts on it. So back inside we go to the table. All right, everybody, so we're back at the table. We're outside doing the fancy turnarounds. You got to see this on my big old meaty head. And yeah, it's not terrible for a $99 ballistic helmet. Last little bit of thoughts what we're going to talk about real quick is some side-by-sides with a couple fakes that we have in the collection here at the channel. So we've got this here, large, extra large helmet, and then we've got this one here. So this is an FMA. I'll zoom in a little more. This is an FMA. I think this is an FMA. I don't know for certain. This is the new guy here, the ballistic. This is the FMA that's got the really thin, crappy shell. Everything on this is actual ops core now, except for the crappy thin shell. And it is comparable in size, looks almost exactly the same size as this Kevlar-y thing I got. So I'm leaning towards it is a large, extra large. But this is based off the old sizing system from OpsCore. This thing here is humongous. So this is an older shell. This isn't a large, extra large, but it's bigger. Considerably larger. And like when I put it on, I'm like, that is a big helmet. That's a large. That's what I need. And as you can see it sitting here, I hope it's coming through well on the video. You can kind of make out that this does look smaller than this guy. Because in person, when I'm looking at it, you're like, well, shit, that is definitely smaller. This back fairing here, this back area of the helmet lip is bigger. It's definitely comes down a little further and looks just larger. Trying to think how else to describe this. This one's nice because it's a thicker shell. It's about the same thickness as the actual ballistic shell here. So it's a pretty good repro for being a plastic. It's not quite a thick and heavy version, but it's pretty close. And it's almost big enough to drop this in to it, as you can see. Almost. So that is kind of like, well, shit, I don't know why it looks so much bigger. This is from around 2010, 2009 timeframe. Got this in from a buddy. He picked it up in Japan. We were both out there at the same time. I had a shell. I didn't quite like the sizing. It was supposed to be large, extra large. For me, it felt more medium, fit him a little better, so we swapped, and I kind of got this thing. And I've been running this on different kits and using it for a long time. I really liked it, and it did work out really well for me. However, now looking at it, I'm realizing how much bigger it is than this actual Kevlar, quote-unquote, ballistic rated helmet. Just bringing this back out one more time. You can kind of see with this thin plastic version, they look almost damn near identical in sizing. These guys here are a lot closer. So I have every reason to believe this should be a quote-unquote large, extra large, not a medium. It actually fits my head where a medium wouldn't. So I can't be 100% certain because I don't have an actual ops core to compare this with. I wish I did, but I don't. That would be the final like proof point, resting, nail in the coffin. Like, yes, this is sized 100% correctly. Now, last little bit of, I guess, the final thoughts on this is the rails suck. If you get one of these guys, you're going to probably want to swap these out and bend them because they just do not work with anything arc rail related. I don't know why, but their spec just a hair too small. They look nice, but they're not good. I don't like this mount, this little nylon fiber mount. I would swap that out because I would not trust hanging multi-$1,000 pair of nods off this thing. Go get yourself a nice aluminum one. Even if it's a fake one, a nice good aluminum with good screws, I'd rather have that versus this thing. The internal little octiles, not terrible. For fake octiles, this is one of the better ones I've had. So if I was going to keep the strap system, because it is not the worst, I would probably stick with this one because it is better than all the other repro octiles I've ever had. So that they did do okay. The pads, they're fake pads. They suck. Rip them out, bit them. Go get better pads. There's already going to be new pads on the way. We're probably going to go Team Windy because Team Windy is kind of the gold standard, in my opinion, of pads. Outside of that, guys, it is a Kevlar helmet. It weighs about almost the same as this guy here, this plastic helmet. It was shipped a little cheaper than one of these quote-unquote thick and heavy version plastic FMA helmets. That's kind of why I went with it. I was like, well, shit, if I'm going to pay the same price, why not get one of these Kevlar ones and test them out and mess with them and see what these things are all about. I do not think I trust the NIJ, National Institute of Justice, 3A rating that this supposedly has. It had no paperwork with it, like I said at the beginning of the video, that came with it to back that up. All that was on the website. The website, according to these guys, said they were in Tennessee, and this helmet was drop shipped directly out of China. So they obviously are not, they might be incorporated out of Tennessee, but they're not making these helmets in America, and they're not sending them out of the States to me. They send it out of China. Could this Kevlar materially be from the States, sent over to China, and then pressed and then put together and sent back? Sure, maybe. That's what some of these companies claim. They claim the Kevlar is American sourced American Kevlar, and then it's sent to China to be made into a helmet and then sent back. I don't know how true that is, and I'm not going to trust my head to it. As I said at the very beginning of this video, Oxide has a great channel. He's done some wonderful testing where he has shot the shit out of a bunch of these Chinese helmets, and the testing wasn't good. These things had a lot of back face deformation, and if you were wearing one of these and you took around, not that you're going to have a great day if you took around with a real ops core or an ACH, but you're going to have a better time than with one of these things because the round may not penetrate, but the back face deformation is going to kill you anyway. So whatever. Blue Jean Operator also done some great videos of the same kind of stuff. Both those guys have done all the testing that I can't do, so I will link their videos in the description below if I can find them. They have all that, so if you want to see what something like this, I think maybe one of these exact helmets has performed under actual ballistic pressure, you'll see it. I don't know if I would trust my life to one of these. I would definitely BB wearing it. It's nice to have a helmet of similar weight and standard to run around in. It's just for shits and giggles to feel that much more LARPeratory. But outside of that, don't do it, because it is going to take some tweaking to mess with anyway. But for 99 bucks, it is nice to have a Ops Core-ish helmet. And it was something different to add to the repertoire of helmets that I do own. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. I hope you got something out of this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, man, get out there, play some airsoft, be a bunch of dorks, LARP smarter, not harder. Don't trust everything you read on the internet, because just because it says it's ballistic rated and NIJ certified doesn't mean it is. Make sure you look at the hard science and sweat them for the information, like I'm going to do with these guys later. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. Take care. Peace.